In this video, we're going to look at how to import survey points into Civil 3D. So the file with the survey points has been provided through a link in the description. So download this file, survey points, and then navigate to where you've downloaded it. So double click on this file to open it in Excel. So this is a CSV file with the survey points which has been provided to you. So this is the survey data which was picked from the field, and it is the one we are going to use in our design throughout this course. So you have to first look at this survey data and ensure that there are no errors, because if there are some errors in it, it will not be recognized in Civil 3D when you import it there. So data can be imported into Civil 3D in different file formats. We can import data in a text file format. We can import it in a CSV format, but we are going to use a CSV, delimited file. So when you look at this data, the first column here is the point, which I can denote as P. The next one is the easting, which is E. Sorry. So we have P, we have E. Then the next column, which is column C, is the northing. The next one, which is column D, is the elevation, and the last one is the description. So the format of this data is PENZD. So yesterday I will have to inform you about this, because you need to know it before you import that data. Otherwise, if you don't know the format, you will not be able to import it into the software. You also need to know the descriptions of this data. So this description in this column E, is the row description. So you need to know what each of these represents. For instance, CA represents the center line of the road, as we shall see later on. So make sure you remove this, delete this, and then close this file without saving anything. This file has already been saved for you in form of a CSV file, but otherwise, if you're having it as an Excel file, you're supposed to come here to File, then Save As, navigate to where you want to save this, and then you make sure you save it as a CSV, delimited file. All right, but we are not going to save this. Make sure you don't save anything. Cancel without saving, and then close this file without saving anything. It has already been saved for you, so don't save anything. All right, so we are going to move on to Civil 3D, and then we see how to import this data. Open up your Civil 3D metric. Make sure you're using the metric template, because in this project you're going to be using the metric template, but you can always feel free to work with the template that is used in your country. It's either metric or imperial, basing on where you're working from. But in this case, we're using the metric template. So we're going to start a new drawing. So after opening up your Civil 3D, you're going to start a new drawing basing on the metric template. So click here to start the new drawing basing on the metric template. If you want to browse the template, you can click on the drop down and then click on browse templates. So, but I'm not going to use that. After starting a new drawing, we're going to start by saving our drawing. So you can save the drawing by clicking on save here, or you can press Ctrl S to save the drawing. So navigate to where you want to save your drawing, give it an appropriate name. On my side, I'm going to call it Road Design in C3D, and then click on save. So you can see the name of your project here, Road Design in C3D. After saving our project, we are going to configure our project settings. So it's always a good practice to always keep on saving your project to avoid data loss in case your power goes off or in case you get any other problem. However, you still don't have to worry because you can always recover your drawing, but it's always a good practice to keep on saving your work regularly on a regular interval. So we are going to configure our project settings. So make sure I go to the settings tab. Then you're going to see the name of your drawing here. So road design C3D, then right click on it and then edit drawing settings. If not that, you can still access that same the settings dialog by going to the application menu, drawing utilities, and then drawing settings. So you can still access it through that. So when you get this settings dialog, we are going to set our drawing units to meters. So you really don't have to change anything here if you're using the metric template because all these are already set in that template. What we are going to change here is the zone. We are going to set up the coordinate system for our drawing. Setting up the coordinate system is a very important step when you're designing because if you set up the wrong coordinate system, you will not be able to georeference your points on the world map, and your points will just look distorted when you try to georeference them on the world map. So it's very important step. So you have to first of all know the zone where you're working from and the zone where the points or your survey data was picked from. So you need to consult and get to know the datum that was used and the coordinate system when the points were being picked. Currently, we have no data, no projection. So click on this drop down here, and then we are going to set our data. So let us look for it. So the data, the survey points which we are going to use, the data was, we are going to set up using, make sure you click on UTM WGS 84 data. So this is the data that was used when those points were being picked, the points which the file which you're being provided with. So click on that. And then when you come here to the coordinate system, click on this drop down and you look for zone 36 north. So in the project area where I'm working from, this project is located in the zone 36 north. So make sure you click on zone 36 north and set that. So after setting that, you will see the system code generated for you down here. So it's UTM 84 36N. And then click on apply. So there are other settings in this settings dialog, but we are not going to look at them at the moment. So this is all we need for now. So click OK to exit this. All right, so we have set up our coordinate system. Now, after setting up your coordinate system, you see that this will appear here, geolocation, but we shall see how to use it later on. So we are going to go ahead and import our survey points. Points in Civil 3D can be imported in two ways. They can be imported as survey points, or they can be imported as COGO points or coordinate geometry points. There are some key differences between the two. However, we shall not go into deep details, but some of which are survey points cannot be edited using non-Civil 3D basic commands. However, COGO points can easily be edited. Survey points can only be edited when you use specialized survey tools. Another difference is that survey points are stored in an external survey database. However, COGO points are stored within the current drawing that you're working with, the DWG file. So in this tutorial, we shall import our points as COGO points. We shall not look at survey points in this tutorial. So let's go ahead and import our points. So you can import your points either by going to the Prospector tab, click on points, right click, and then say create. When you say create, you get the point creation tool. Or you can do the same by going to the Home tab and then create ground data, and then you click on the drop down arrow on points. When you click on that, you see an option to get the point creation tools. So you click on that, you still get the same. Now there are other options when you click on this, but if you want to know more about them, we shall not discuss them, but you can just hover your cursor on them and try to read the notes that you get when you hover your cursor on them. So we are not going to look at all these options, but go to the last option, and then when you hover your cursor there, you will see import points. So we are going to import points using this option. So you click on that. When you click on that, you get a dialog for importing points. So first of all, you're going to click on the green plus arrow so that you navigate to where you saved your points. So make sure you navigate to the folder where you have saved the file with the survey points. So after navigating to that file, click on that, and in case you're not seeing it, make sure you come down here and you change the file type to .csv. It could be that on your side you're having it as text. If you're having it as text, you'll not be able to see the file. So make sure you have set this to .csv. That is when you'll be able to see this file. So open that file, click on that file, and then open. So when you wait for some time, your file is going to come here and it should have a green check mark on the left hand side. If it does not have this green, it means maybe there's something wrong with the file, and maybe if you had any changes that you made in the other file, that could be the problem. Make sure you're using the original file that you've been provided with to avoid any challenges on that. Some of the key things you should take note of is that before you import these points into Civil 3D, you must ensure that you have closed this CSV file in Excel. If this file is still open in Excel, Civil 3D will not be able to import them. Otherwise, you're going to have some red mark around here. You don't have this green tick here. So you should ensure that you have closed the CSV file in Excel in order for you to import the points successfully into Civil 3D. So after checking that, on this next box, we are going to look for the file format. So the file format, as we discussed earlier, it is a PENZD, the point, listing, nothing, the elevation, and then the description. So make sure you check on PENZD, delimited. So this is the file format that we are working with. So after checking that, you see that you're having the point, the easting, the northing, the elevation, and then the row description. So this is how our points are supposed to be. And then after that, we have an option here to add the points to a group, but we are not going to do this at this stage. We shall create our point groups later on. So after that, just click OK, and your points are going to be imported into Civil 3D. So we are going to close this. So as of now, you're not seeing anything on your screen, but don't worry about that. You can zoom in to see your points by clicking on zoom extents here, or you can use the command zoom, press enter, and then you check on extents down here on the command line. So you check on extents to see your points. All right. So just by zooming extents, you're going to see the points. Or you can also press ZE and press enter. It will still do the same. So after importing your points, these are the points you can be able to visualize what we have. So this is how our road is. After importing your points, you can be able to visualize your points on the map. However, this step will not work for you if you are not, for any reason, you are not signed in into your Autodesk account. If you are not signed in into your Autodesk account for some reason, you can just ignore this step. However, I'm going to show you how you can visualize your points on the map if you are signed in into your Autodesk account. So you can come here to geolocation, click on that. And then from here, you can see an option to turn on the map. So currently the map is off, but you can turn it on. So I'm going to use the map area. But however, for this to work for you, you need to be having an internet connection, and you should be signed in into your Autodesk account. So I'm going to turn on the map area. So just click on yes to accept this. But however, this will not work for you if you're not signed in into your Autodesk account. But don't worry about that. If that's the case, you really don't have to worry about that. You can just skip this step. Yeah, so after that, you're going to be able to visualize your points on the map where your points were taken from. This will only work for you if you had set up the correct coordinate system. So if you didn't set up the right coordinate system, your points are going to appear distorted on the map. They will not appear in the right position. So this is why it's important for you to set up the correct coordinate system when you're setting up your drawing settings. Yeah, so this is where our points were taken. So this is the road that we're going to design. You can see that, you can visualize this on the map. We are not so much interested in this. Let us turn off this map. So make sure you turn off the map and then go back to the home tab. So if you are not signed into your Autodesk account, just skip that step and we proceed with this. We are going to continue by looking at how we can change the display of our points. Currently, we cannot see the point descriptions, we can't see the elevations, but we are going to see how to deal with that. So on the Prospector tab, go to your points and then point groups. Expand this and then you see all points. So you can go to the properties. So by default, when you import points, Civil 3D is going to create for us a point group, which is all points. And this group contains all the points that we have imported into Civil 3D. But later on, we can create our own point groups, as we shall see. So for now, when you go to this dialog, we can see the information. So we can see the point style is basic. You can feel free to change that and see the outcome, but we are not going to look at that. So currently I'm interested in the point label style. So it is set to none. Let us change it to maybe description only and see what happens. So click on apply and click OK. So when you come back here, you see that the point descriptions are now visible. If you want to change, you can try to change the annotation scale so that they don't appear so crowded. You can change it to 1 to 500 for now. And yes, you can see, you can be able to visualize the points. You can go back, right click, properties, try to change let us change it to elevation only, and we click OK. So when you change it to elevation only, it will show you the elevations of the points. All right, so I'm not interested in that. So let's go back and change it back to none. Change the label style to none and click apply and click OK. So we are there. We have seen how to change the label style. We can go ahead and try to create new point groups. So to create a new point group, you come to point groups, right click, and then new. When you come here, we are going to create a new point group. We shall see the importance of creating a point group. So currently the name is set to point group 1, but let us change it to, so we're going to create a point group that is containing only the centerline points. So let us call it CL. The point style, let's leave it at basic, and then the description, let's leave it at the label style, let it be description only. Let us go to the include. when you go to include, make sure you check the include with row description matching. When we are looking at the Excel file, the CSV file, we looked at the row description. So we are going to include points that had row description matching CL, which is representing the center line. Then you add asterisk. So when something begins with CL plus anything that comes after, it will be included in this point group. So to confirm that they have been included, you can look at the point list here to ensure that your points have been included in that. Now there are other tabs that we can see here, but we aren't going to look at all of them at the moment. Let's just leave it at that. So we have included all the centerline points in this. So click apply and then OK. Our new point group has been created here. If you want, depending on what you need, you can go ahead and create more point groups. To create a new point group, you just right click on point groups and then create new. So let us create another point group and we call it trees. So this is going to be a point group that is containing all our trees. So let us say include with row description matching. Now I know that in my data, the trees are having a row description beginning with TR. So I'm going to say TR and put a asterisk. So everything that's beginning with a TR representing trees shall be included in this. So when you look at the point list, indeed you see that they have been included, and then click OK. So currently we now have 3 point groups, that is trees, center line, and then all points. This one was by default created. Now there are other ways, other options of working with points, but we shall not look at so much details of them. Let's just leave it at this. Hoping to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.